Let us come before God. In holy presence we gather. We come with the Lamb, pebbles strewn, sweeping fields, craggy mountains, time-worn valleys, as those who draw our life from God. We lift our voice with the voice of the Lamb, seeking from God what makes for life, crying out for the voice that has, crying out for the violence that has been done, longing and working for creation's redemption. We listen with the land for vibrations of God's presence, grounding all in the deep assurance that God is and will be in this place. What does God hear when listening to the Lamb? I am land, crying out, soiled by pollution. I am land, crying out, stained by the shedding of blood. What have we done to the land? O God, what have we done to you? I am land, crying out, torn apart by hatreds. I am land, crying out, used up and discarded without thought to the future. What have we done to the land, O God? What have we done to you? What do we hear when we listen to the land? I am land, crying out. God hears the cry of the land, and God hears the cries we raise. Let us cry out for an end to the violence done to the earth, done to one another. Let us cry out, and let us work for a renewed commitment to earth's healing. God, forgive us. God, empower us. God, help us for the sake of the Lamb. There was once someone who said such wonderful things, who told wonderful stories that drew together the land and the people. Stories about everyday things like fields and sowers, like shepherds and sheep. And as people drew near to this one, they felt it was a little bit like what it might be like to draw near to God. And so they asked Jesus, "Who are you? Like, really, who are you?" And one of the times he answered them, "Like the one that feeds the plants and shows forth meaning out of meaninglessness and brings order to chaos, I am the light." The light that is at the heart of all things is present with us here and now. book of Psalms, there are many songs. Psalms has a lot of songs and poems that people said or sang when they were happy or sad, lonely or worried, or in any other kind of mood. The great King David wrote several of these songs. In this song, David began to feel safe when he remembered that God made him and knew everything about him. David gives praise and thanks for all God's goodness. David sang, and this is a bit of a modern retelling, a little bit, given that David's worldview would not have necessarily understood some of the concepts present in this retelling. God is always present with us, everywhere on earth, even in the skies. We can go to the North Pole, or the South Pole, or any continent, and God is there. You can find any place on a map and know that God is there. We can't hide from God. God looks after us and cares for us. God guides us, and we feel as comfortable as we would if someone was cuddling us. We see the effects of a tornado or powerful gusts of wind or terrible wildfires. Powerful storm surges, massive hurricanes. God's Spirit is like the gusts of wind. It goes everywhere. God's wind blows goodness throughout the universe. God's Spirit is in places that are invisible to us. If we go up in a plane, I don't think David went up in a plane. I should write my comments back to the Seasons people and tell them they need to work on that. We go up in a plane, God is there. If we go in a submarine into the depths, David says we go into the depths. How would we go into the depths if we didn't have a submarine? God is there. God is in the green spaces of the land, in the places where land is being hurt or damaged. God is deep in the land, in places where land is alive and flourishing, and where land is crying out for just treatment. God is there. We can't weigh or measure God. We can't put a fence around God and keep God in or out. God is with us in shops, in rooms in our homes, in buildings when we go to meetings, in forests, up mountains, in green and in barren lands. God is with us now and will be with us in the future, whatever may happen to us. If you are sitting down, lying down, or walking around, God is there. If we make mistakes and do things that are wrong, however we feel, God is there. When you look up in the sky and see the moon and the stars, God is there. When we get up early in the morning and see the sunrise, see beams of light across the sky or the water, we know that God is there. A sunset before the next beautiful day reminds us that God is present with all creation. God is there, and